Awesome. So we are live. What's up, guys? We're running a couple minutes late. My apologies, but if you guys are checking in, let me know where from. I'm always interested to see where people are tuning in from. And then we're gonna get started in just a minute with my man Steven here. Oh, all right, cool. Well, we can just hop right into it, my man. I know we were just talking a little bit, and the one thing I really want to focus on tonight is people to understand, how you got into the business and, how we just did this first deal. And we were just talking about all the things that went wrong and, that's just part of it. But, I'd really like to know, who you are, a little bit of a background, and then, we can transition to maybe how you even got into real estate and how long it took to get your first deal. And then, it's funny how we actually got your first deal. So, a little introduction and then what you were doing before real estate.
Yeah, cool. Well, what's up, everyone out there? Thanks for tuning in. My name is Steven Loud. I'm here in the Houston market. I'm 35 years old, and I just closed my first deal thanks to Ben and Derek. And man, it's been a long time coming. Just to answer Derek's question when he was talking about a little bit about myself, where I come from, my background. Believe it or not, guys, I actually wanted to go to medical school. I went to Tuskegee in Alabama. I got my bachelor's there in animal science pre-med. And then I went to Hampton and got my master's there in medical science. I took the MCAT like 3 times. Couldn't get the score I needed. Accumulated all this student loan debt. Like, I just had this big dream and vision leaving Houston. Like, just didn't want to have a lifestyle that I had growing up. Like, I just wanted, better for myself. And I love my family. It did so much for me, but I just knew there was just so much more in life. And I just I bought into the dream of education. Didn't work out for me. Got back home to Houston in 2012, 3 MCAT scores down, working at a restaurant, waiting tables. And I was depressed, hit rock bottom, circle just got short. And I just kind of gave up a little bit, and then got active at a church, Lakewood Church, actually, and got active in life groups, interned there, and just kind of directed my life back to God, and just found out a lot about myself, and just opened up a lot of healing places I needed to get to that I didn't get to, didn't know how to get to. So that was all a part of God's plan. And I had a homeboy, believe it or not, at Lakewood. He actually does Airbnbs. And it was just one night we were just out talking. He was like, man, you should look into wholesaling real estate. And I was like, man, what are you talking about? I don't want to be a real estate agent. He was like, look into wholesaling. So I went to YouTube and I typed in wholesaling real estate. And everybody knows who's going to pop up first, Max Maxwell, right? So Max popped up, and it was simple. Get a property under contract off the market, below the price, lock it up, put minimal $10, $1 EMD down, go find a cash buyer and give it to them at a higher price, and you take the cut between the two. That was simple to me. I was like, this is it. Little did I know that journey right there was going to cost a lot of time, energy, patience, faith. Dude, you have no idea. So,
and just to stop you really quick, and we'll get into that. I just think something I like to highlight, just things that stand out to me.
Yeah.
And I would say one of them is roadblocks. I think I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and the guy was talking about fear and roadblocks, and sometimes and how he likes to view them, and he views them as a turn signal, not a stop sign, right? And with the medical thing, I know that's something that you were passionate about, but it came to a point where it was like, is this even worth it?
Right.
And you came back home to reevaluate things. And I think sometimes, you have to take a step back to go 6 or 7 or however many forward, right? Because I've done it multiple times in my life. Me and my wife have done it. Just getting recentered, refocused, looking at the things that matter. And, I think we all get into real estate wanting to better our lives, and the things and the journeys that we go through make us better people. But sometimes we need those moments of hitting the wall or falling on our face to realize, I need to change some things. Maybe I need to look at myself. Maybe I need to realign with my beliefs and look at some better things. Just listening. I always tell my friends, just listening to a podcast a day or something positive alone can just change your life, because you start thinking differently.
Right.
So kudos to you for coming back and realizing I need to do something different. That takes a big ego check,
Yeah, for sure. And the thing about it is this, you got to think about the destination and the journey and the goal and what you want to get to, right? So me growing up, my mom, single family household, my mom worked a lot of hours, mostly, graveyard shifts, or during the day, like I'm coming home from school and she's getting ready to go to work. Didn't have a father in the house, so she was just grinding, right? And like, much respect to my mother, and I honor her for that. But I just always told myself, I was like, I just don't want to have to just work like that and raise a family, because I just know that there can be a better way to do it. And I love my mom for it, and I never would, discredit her for that. But I say all that to say, like, I had this journey want to go to school in my heart. Like, I wanted the family, the wife, the kids, the financial right side of it, and everything, and the freedom and the peace. And I thought becoming a physician and a doctor was going to do that. So what happened was I came obsessed, and I became passionate about the vessel, but like I just was only focused on arriving looking a certain way. You know what I mean? But see, there's so many different ways I can get to that destination, but I was only so focused on being a doctor. But look, that was just one vessel, one avenue to get to where I wanted to get to. So when I had that breaking point, I was like, look, I can still get to that destination, family, that peace, the finances, like that freedom. I can get there, but I don't have to be a physician or a doctor to do that. And that was the big thing, because I would always hear people tell me, no, you need to be a nurse or a nurse practitioner. Keep going, don't stop. Or maybe medical school isn't for you. And I wouldn't accept it, because I was just so resilient. Like I put so much into it. But when I realized, like, I can still get to my goals and get to my objectives and what I want in life, that heaven on earth, what we all want, right? That heaven on earth, I could get there, but not having to be a physician or a doctor. And I probably have more freedom and probably make more money. But it took me actually like thinking about it and stepping back and realizing it and accepting it. You can know it, you can hear it, you can hear the voices, but are you going to accept it? Once I accepted it, 10K.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a great point. And I distinctly remember having that point even in my life, with quitting college, right? Because I was always like just looking at it this one way, and I spent way too long to get like the degree that I was getting, and it was like, do I even want to do this?
Right.
And I would always say, and it's so stupid, and I laugh at myself now. I used to always say, like, tell people like about starting businesses. I'm like, oh, you don't need a business degree to do it, but yet I was still going to school to learn business and engineering and stuff. So until you accept it and you decide to make a decision to move, that's when things start to change. But I think that's a really good point, because we always ask for things and we pray for them, and we manifest these things, but a lot of times we think it's going to happen a certain way, like you said, and your God, whatever you believe, higher calling, has the same plan but a different route. And honestly, the route that we're given is way better, and way more fulfilling as well too. So that's why sometimes you just have to realize that it's a big thing on faith, and I think that's what we're about to get into is like the faith to keep going. So around what time was it when you started learning about this, and then what did you do? Because I know we've talked about you got started, and then you quit and dabbled, and then I feel like these are a lot of things that newer people or people in real estate do when you're new, because you don't understand it or you don't know how real estate works. So, what year was that when you started looking, and what did that look like? What was your action plan and everything?
Okay. So, and thank you for sharing that, Derek. That's huge, man. That's huge. For me, it was around this time in 2018, I think like 2 years ago. I was actually out with one of my boys, and we had that convo, and I looked on YouTube, and I was just like, wow, like this is awesome. So I didn't even have an action plan. Like I didn't know any Houston investors. I didn't know anyone. Like listen to me, like ground, like zero, like nothing. All I'm doing is like just watching YouTube, watching Max Maxwell, watching House Buying Brian, watching Byron Holman, like watching you and Ben on Instagram. Like that's all I was doing. Just watching all these, watching Sean Terry, Carlos Reyes, watching everybody. So I just began, what I did was I went to Instagram to Max Maxwell, and then I began to follow. Uh-oh. Okay, we're good. I'm still there.
There we go. Yeah, you're good. Go ahead though.
Okay. Well, yeah. So, and I was just like, I began just to watch the people that, that had the big names out there that were like doing deals. I just started following the people they were following on Instagram. And I just started like, just following, listening to what they were talking about the TREC contracts, one-page contracts, and in buyers, going to, the tax delinquent auctions and stuff like that. And I'm just like, just in this newbie zone, like just all this info, but I wasn't really taking any action, right? Because I didn't really know what to do. And I think my first time cold calling was I think I ended up cold calling I think some Zillow properties, for sale by owner properties on Zillow, and I was getting chewed out. Like, they wanted a high dollar price, and I was just like, this is not going to be an investment number. I had a hard time like figuring out like the ARV 0.70 repairs. Like, it was overwhelming, right? But I just told myself, like, the only way I'm going to learn how to do this is just to go. I had to just get in there, and I just had to just figure this thing out and fall flat on my face. Like, at this point, I was like, I'm already low. Like, I'm already probably the lowest I could be in life. I mean, I might as well just try to figure this thing out. And that's what I did, man. And I started going to events. I went to your event. I went to House Buying Brian and Byron Holman's event. They were talking about the TREC contracts, and I just started, talking to other investors in the area, and just, I just started going out there, and I ordered some bandit signs about a year and a half ago, put them out, got a call, actually had a lead inside the loop by Braeswood, and it was a deal. But because I didn't know what to do, and I was just so independent, one thing, if there's anybody out there watching this, guys, like, listen to me. Don't be afraid to share your deals that you get, because a lead may actually be a deal for you, but you may not know how to handle it, and you may lose it. And that's what happened to me. I didn't have anybody I could call. Because I didn't trust anyone. I felt like somebody would have just snatched this deal from me and take it from me, and I wouldn't get anything. But guess what happened? I ended up not getting a deal anyway, right? So if I would have just been like unprideful and been open to like network with people and to walk in community with people, that's been a big issue of mine as well. Trust issues, right? I probably would have had my first deal like a long time ago. So I really think that the biggest thing for me with the closing with real estate was really like opening up and wanting to work with other people and wanting to connect with other people and trusting other people. I've just been like this dog fighting, like just scratching and just doing everything on my own, to where it's like, now you got to tell this dog to like go to a park and hang out with other dogs. He's like, nah, I've been biting and scratching on my own. But once you realize you're not going to make it on your own, it's a level of maturity and growth that you have to accept. And that was huge for me. And I trusted Ben and Derek with it. They had the numbers, they had the address, they had the contract, they had everything to take me out if they wanted to, but they didn't. And that just was really relieving for me, knowing that I had somebody I could trust in this game.
Yeah. And I think another thing too, like for people, it can be scary, and you never know, somebody could take advantage. I think learning to read people in general, you can figure out who's a good character. And a lot of people talk, and you'll never know until their actions. For me, I'm very old school, so I do what I say I'm going to do, and I think of the long term, because there's people that we've done a bunch of deals with. My mentor, took me in, and I trusted this man, and you know what I'm saying, he took care of me, so it's only right to pay it forward. Yeah. But also, like, I still get to do deals with them. Like, we did a deal recently, and they made 10 grand off of it too. And we had the buyer and everything. And you know what I mean? Like, that's the joy of real estate, is building those relationships and working. And, we were just talking about the title company and how awesome they are. And Ben and I was having this conversation because, like, I've worked with them for 2 or 3 years, and they came through a friend. And now I've been able to bring them more business, from buyers to new people to a lady we just sold a property to is doing a refinance, and she liked them, so that she's using them. So you never know like the relationships you're building. So I always think the networking part is good. And another point to touch on is, like, I feel like with newer, well, actually, I'm going to be blunt. I know with newer people, they're some of the most skeptical. And I think if you lead with service and you do the right thing, like, it'll take care of itself. And do your research on people, right? Like, I'm not the biggest wholesaler in Houston. And honestly, nowadays, I don't think I want to be. I want to do a certain amount of deals and be comfortable. But I think that by doing the right thing with people, it'll bring you so many more deals down the road. Like, I would want to do 20 deals with you, not just one. And it's also serving, because seeing you get a check is more fulfilling than the money we made, to be honest with you, because that's not something you can buy. And I remember that feeling, and it, like Ben was saying, it brings back a lot of memories of when you're first getting started. But you went down this road and you had a couple of deals like locked up, didn't you? Because I know I talked to Quentin and some people, like, you've been trying to do real estate, like you said, for 2 years. Like, you got a few properties though under contract. I think it's important though that you did take action. Maybe you weren't consistent with it, but you did take action.
Yeah.
What did those first couple contracts look like, and what went wrong with them?
Okay, cool. So prior to me closing my first deal, I actually got Barker Cypress, Pasadena, A-Leaf, and that East Houston property. I actually got 4 properties under contract. Before closing on it, and then out of those 4, 2 of those contracts actually went to the title company. Okay. So the first contract the first property I got in contract, I got this from a for sale by owner on Zillow. It was a property out in A-Leaf. He wanted, I think it was ARV on it was 125. He was selling it at 137. It was half of a duplex. This Asian guy, he was like, I don't care. Give me my money. I want my money. You want 137? Take it. I was like, I'll take it. I'll take it. And so I just locked it up over the phone, right? Locked it up over the phone. But I was like, let me not take this to title because I don't even know what I'm doing. I marked the thing on Facebook and everybody was bang, bang, shot me down. Like, the numbers are off. This is not going to, I'm like, this is a great buy and hold. Like, anytime somebody say buy and hold, like, I was like, this is going to be a great buy and hold. Shot me down. So I was like, whatever. Another property out in East Houston, I got that one on Zillow because, see, at this time, I didn't have a car. So that's another thing I want to tell y'all about. So I was working at this restaurant for we're talking, this is going to be very quick. I was working at the restaurant for 7 years, had a Mustang, right? High car note, high insurance, just trying to live flashy, can't afford it. Just living check to check. Crazy, dog, crazy. And then I got this offer to work at an ophthalmology clinic. I left the restaurant to go work at the ophthalmology job, take a reduction in pay because I was so tired of the restaurant gig. I lost my car. I got repoed. My car got repoed. Okay. So I ended up working there, got my job back at the restaurant, and saved up some cash and got a Honda Civic. And I started back and I got into real estate. Went driving for dollars and totaled that car on a Sunday, bro. So now I was back without a whip. Bro. Lost my Honda like 2 weeks. I mean, like 2 months. I'm like, dog, like, I'm too old for this. Like, I'm like, dog, I am too old for this. Totaled my Honda, bro. It was gone like that quick. I was out driving for dollars and bam, wrecked it. I was like, man, like, really, like, and that's why I was like, maybe real estate isn't for me. So what's so crazy is, well, I get to that, right? So let me just not be all over the place. So I don't have a car. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna still do this real estate thing. So I locked that property up in A-Leaf. It was a fry. It didn't happen. Property out in East Houston was an agent who was living in the home. He had just bought it like 3 years ago. He was right there about maybe 10 grand under the ARV. And I was like, it may work. Let me lock it up and see. Fry. No, it didn't work. It didn't work. So that was the cancellation, right? So I was like, dang. So that's contract number 2 canceled. This is like going into the fall. I'm like, man, like, what's going on? Like, something's got to hit from me. So I'm like, at this moment, like, I'm not doing real estate. I cancel PropStream. I cancel Deal Machine. I don't have a car. I cancel all my subscriptions. Like, I literally wasted a lot of money on subscriptions because I wasted a lot of money on subscription because I was just paying, but I wasn't taking action. I just felt that, okay, now that I'm making these monthly, I felt like I was in real estate. Bro,
but that's a really good point, because let's talk about that, because there's people that I see in meetups for like 2 or 3 years and they've never done a deal, but they probably know more than me about real estate. They have subscriptions. They have everything to look like a professional investor, right? And they've never done a deal. And it's crazy to me because, like, how I always viewed real estate, and it fucks with me having this, is like imposter syndrome. Like, sometimes it's like I do real estate full time and it's like I still don't feel like a big investor, right? And we do a decent amount of deals, but a lot of people, they feel like investors and they do these things to, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, feel like an investor. So I think it's important that you brought that out.
Yeah, man. And I'm telling you, dude, like, if I cannot stress that enough, like, listen to me. Talk to people. Like, he had that hat on for a reason. I did way more stuff about the business of it than actually talking to people.
Yeah.
Or period. Like, and that's a L. That, I mean, it's a lesson. It's not a loss. It's an L. But you guys know what I mean by that. And that's what happened. Like, I was just doing a lot of stuff, like trying to look the fad and subscriptions. And I mean, I think it all worked out, you know, for the betterment. But I just felt like I could have been taking way more action in other areas, and not focusing so much on that. But to each his own, right? And so now I'm 2 contracts denied, and the fall hits, and I'm just like, man, like, it was around this time last year, and I'm like, something's gotta. I don't know what I'm about to do. I know I'm not going back to medical school. I know I'm not doing that. I know I want to do real estate, but I don't have a car, and I'm like I was depressed, dog. Like, I was like, bro, like I want. Where's my wife? Where's my kids? Like, this ain't the promises of my life right now. Like, this ain't what I want. Like, I'm upset. I'm upset, bro. Like Drake said, I'm upset, dog. Like, I'm upset. January hits. Something inside of me told me to file an LLC, which is what I wanted to do. I filed an LLC, bro, and started my real estate company. I was like, we're going to do Sage Private Group, we're going to do it. Corona hits. What happens with the LLCs? The businesses, they were able to get some reimbursement and some funding by the government. Check this out. I was able to get some money for my business with the Paycheck Assistance Program. Got a couple G's in, right? And then I was able to go buy my Honda.
Got you another one. Hey, but that's important though, because there's a lot of people that were like scamming and shit, and like you legit took the money to do it, and now we have shown profit. But I think that's amazing, bro. I would have retitled, and I forgot that you told me that, or I would have retitled this whole line, bro. Flipping government money, bro. But like you did it. You did it.
Hold on, wait, and that's exactly what I did, bro. Like, I got that bread. I caught up on my bills. What I didn't do is I didn't get that money and go shopping, because I was like, I had enough Yeezys, I had enough Jordans. Like, mind you, I was living that lifestyle, like sneakerhead on the sneakers app. Every Jordan drop, Yeezys coming. Like, I was there, caught up in what we talked about being consumerism. And bro, like, you broke. Like, you can't even. I can't even go. Like, credit's jacked up, but I'm out here looking like I got it. Like, but you don't. You don't. And I'm tired. I'm tired of it. Like, I'm tired of it. Like I don't feel like a man. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like a man. Like, then that's God. That's the inner coming out of me. You feel me? But
you start realizing what matters to you, right?
Exactly.
And so you took it and you bought what though? You bought the car, and what else?
I did that money. I caught up on my bills because I had got furloughed at the restaurant. I wasn't working, bro. Like,
everything was shut down.
Bro, if you want to figure out what you want to do in life, lock yourself in your room for about 3 months. Lock yourself up. But don't be suicidal. If it gets to a point where you start thinking about taking yourself out, man, get around some people. But
right.
I say that in itself, like mental health, like it. Luckily, I stay around the bayou, so I was able to, like, ride my bike and go out for walks.
Yeah, get out the house. I think a lot more people. It was one of the most beautiful things I think about Corona was that, like, because we always go to the same parks by our house. We have 2 of them, and like during Corona though, them hoes were packed. And I was like, this is actually dope though. Imagine if it was like this all the time, like people legit spending time with their kids and like. Yeah, and you have a lot of time. You start reevaluating some things. I know Ben and I started a couple new businesses and started looking at things different and what we wanted to do. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we live below our means still, even though we could, live I would say more lavish lifestyle. But like you said, we're more worried about buying assets. So like, you made the investment though. So you took the money. You got some bandit signs in the car, pretty much, right?
Yeah. So what I did with the bread. Was I went and got my Honda, caught up on bills, and I was like, man, like, let me go get some bandit signs, right? Let me go do this. So I got some bandit signs. I started driving for dollars, started text blasting. I started putting money into like that. I wasn't getting any results on text blast, right? So now it's like June, July. What are my bandit signs? They come in, and like when I'm like, you know what, like maybe this isn't going to happen for me. Like, I have my car, like I just couldn't get any leads after I got like the funding. I was like, why can't I get any leads? I'm like, come on, man. So what I ended up doing was I just ordered some bandit signs. I said, let me just do something old school. Let me do something old school. Got some bandit signs, wouldn't hung them out. I'm at work, bro. I hung these bandit signs out on a Tuesday night. And I know the code is to hang them out on Friday because the city workers aren't working on Saturdays and Sundays. So you get Saturday and Sunday free marketing, people out driving. My bandit signs came in on a Monday. I was like, man, I'm hanging these things up ASAP. So I punched holes in all of them, got my zip ties, and Tuesday night just went out, hung them out all over Houston, right? Wednesday comes, I'm bartending. I have my phone out by the computer. So, if your phone's up and someone calls you, you're going to see it light up. And the restaurant work is kind of like low lighting. Man, I saw that number. We had just opened, so we didn't have that many guests in the restaurant. So I grabbed my phone and run outside. Hi, Stephen, this is Mr. Pie out here. And I saw one of your signs and I have a home for sale. This guy, he's an Indian. He's from India. So he's like, I have a home for sale. And I started vetting my buyer, right? My seller. So, why are you interested in selling? Have many updates or repairs to the property? What is your reason for selling? Do you have a timeline? How many bedrooms? How many baths? How long have you owned the property? Is there a mortgage on it? Just talking to him, are you by yourself? Did you have a wife? And I was just getting to know him. And I was like, well, would you be interested in me coming by the property tomorrow morning? He was like, yeah, come by tomorrow morning. I'll be here. And I asked him, what do you think your property's worth? He was like, he told me what he thought it was worth. He told me it was appraised for. And he told me where it was at. And I was like, I know comps are higher out there. I was like, no way, God. I was like, nah, you playing games, man. This is gonna be another silly one. Oh, I didn't even go over contract number 3. Dang, I'm moving too fast. But anyway, whatever. So we're going to the
but I would just say to touch base on those like 3 and 4, because I know you have one in Katy by me, and then you have one in Pasadena.
Dang.
No, you're good. But and I did look at those, and I told you, I don't think that they're deals, which I was right. But I told you to go through with the process, because I think that's the main thing I want to highlight with the story is at each point, even when you gave up, when you decided to take action, you just took action. Like you didn't, you had already done the research. You went out there and you did try to talk to people. It was just when you started getting consistent with it, you started picking them up. So it's crazy that you were doing all these other things, but you got this lead from a bandit sign.
Right.
And I think that's where I came in.
Right. Exactly. And, and guys, so like I said, I have 4 contracts prior to this one. I've totally skipped those other two deals and what Derek's talking about. So I had a Pasadena property. I got that one on Zillow for sale by owner. Went out there, talked them down a little bit, but it wasn't good. Went to the title, opened it up. Got to make sure that number is right. It wasn't an investor number. That was a crash. The property I got on text blasting was a property out in Barker, Cypress. It was the number 4 selling zip code in Harris County. Number 4. Locked that thing up like at least 30 grand under the ARV, but it still wasn't low enough. I still couldn't get it deep enough. And he was pissed. That guy was pissed at me because he was so mad, but I was trying to get that number down, but he didn't want to budge. And I learned my lesson. Like at that point, like I'm not locking up any other properties no more if it's not deep enough. Like I can't put myself through that. And then on top of that, you got a title company working, opening up escrow and title commitment on a property. And you're like, well, I think I may be able to do it. And I'm like, I don't want to do that to the title company. Properties that aren't gonna, because I'm making them do work for nothing. Like I thought about that too. That really hit on my heart. I was like, I don't want to keep doing that to the title company. Like that's a referral from Derek. Like I got to make sure these properties are deep before I even bring in the title. So fast forward where we are right now, guys. I know I'm all over the place. At that point, I was like, am I going to close any deals? Like what's happening? So I just ordered some bandit signs because for sale by Zillow wasn't working. The text blast stuff wasn't working for me at the time. So I just said, I got to figure out something. Got my bandit signs and hung them out. I'm at work. I get a call on the clock at work. Could get fired for this, point blank and period. And I was able to go outside on the patio, talk to the seller.
And I think that's why I related with you, bro, is because I have a very similar story with waiting tables. And I can tell you, at least 2 or 3 times that I remember being at work, and nobody used to call me at the time. Like it would be my girl, and she never called me when I was at work.
Yeah.
And I remember like feeling my phone vibrate and legit being mid taking an order and be like, I'm sorry, I'll be right back. And I would just go outside and talk. And like my managers never caught me. And like one did like towards the end, but he already knew what I was trying to do. So he was like not tripping.
Right.
But like you said, in the restaurant, they be tripping on the phone shit, bro. And I kind of get it because like when you're busy and there's like a chick just in the back texting,
Yeah.
but like, you know, but being able to take that chance while you're at work.
Yeah.
But Mr. Sam had called you, and I think when we spoke, you already had it under contract, didn't you? You just went right out there, or what?
Once I went out there and I went out that property, I was like, when I saw the outside of the home, I was like, yo, this property is fat. This is about to be a great payday. Like, what's going on? Like, this mug was in a great area. This is a Class A neighborhood.
Yeah. No, it was actually a really good deal. And when you told me the numbers, it's funny because my wife we had been out of the hospital like 1 or 2 days, I think. And I just happened to be on that side of town. And when you told me the numbers, and shout out, this is why it's good to have a strong spouse, because she just gets it. And we had a newborn, and I'm like, hey, I got to go look at this house, right? And she was like, no, it's cool. Like, she gets it. So like, you know, I met you out there. Like, I think that was the second time when you went, like, I was like, hey, we need to see this. Like, this is a deal. I'm out here. And you came
right.
You came right out.
Yeah, man. And that was like, I locked it up, got it under contract, and I had already seen everything over. Like, I got a memorandum on it. Like, 'cause I didn't want to tell nobody about this. Like, I put a memorandum on it. I was like, I wish somebody would. Like, and that's me thinking, like, I'm like, that single dog mentality. Like, I don't want to, you know, like it was coming out. But I was like, I don't want to lose this one. Like, I know this can happen. Like, who can I trust? Who can I go with? Like, what's going on? Like, I don't want to lose this deal, man. I know it's here. So locked it up, sent it the title. And I think I put it on Instagram, and like, you know, you and I and Ben, we always message back and forth. And then like, I thought you was like, yo, like, what's going on with this one? I was like, it may be a good one. And then we connected, and you came out and you saw it, and you were like, yo, it's a deal. It's a deal. It's a deal. We're gonna get Ben out here. We're gonna get our buyers on it. We're gonna close. And sure enough, it was a deal.
Yeah. But you know, it was that easy, and it wasn't, right? For me, I'm used to closing deals. So like, that's why I knew how to handle the situation and everything. Yeah. We still got it closed, because I think that's the part that people don't talk about. And I'm happy to bring this up, is like, guys, you can get a contract and it don't mean shit. Like that. It's like, I have probably like a 5-step process on deals. And getting the appointment is 1, 2 is getting the contract, 3 is getting clear title, 4 is getting a buyer, 5 is closing everybody, right? And I need to write that shit down, because I just made that off the top of my dome. But literally, it's the 5-step process of a deal. Yeah. And on top of that, like, you have to go through all these steps. So you can literally be on step 2 and get shut down, or you can get to 3 and 4, which we did. And then the seller took us back to number 1, right? Oh. Because he changed up. So can you talk a little bit about what happened? So, because like, we had it under contract, things were good. I brought in, actually only 2 buyers were really interested, but you really just need a couple good buyers, right? And they were happy to take the deal.
Right, exactly, man. And that was another thing too. And that's what I was kind of fearful about. Cause I was like, man, we got buyers on this, and our owner is acting crazy. We're gonna lose our buyer. We're gonna lose the deal. And Derek was like, man, we'll be all right. I'm like, no, we're not, bro. We're gonna lose the buyer. Oh, we gotta have the buyers, man. Talk to the buyers. They don't know what's going on. He's like, chill, I got it. I was like, all right, but it worked out, right? So this is what happened. So this guy he's from India, older guy. Like, I mean, this dude literally had doo-doo all in the bathrooms. He couldn't hold it. He was pissing everywhere. There was blood everywhere throughout the house.
It was pretty bad, bro. Like you said, it was in like, guys, just so you know, I would say it's in I wouldn't say Class A, but I would definitely say B class neighborhood, like an older neighborhood, but it's still really nice.
Yeah.
300. It was what, like worth like 330, 340? No, like 350, right? Yeah.
The comps in the area are like 350, 370.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we got it locked up at 230.
Yeah.
That equity.
Yeah.
That
In
equity.
a great neighborhood, but guys, no, there was some kickbacks with it. Was the pool? The pool was like the pool was a green swamp, and to be this big of a house, it was, I think, what, almost 3,000 square feet, and even if you're painting a 3,000 square foot house, like you're looking at damn near 10 grand right there. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're talking like ceiling, walls, trim, everything, right? So, you know, I knew it still was a good deal, but the numbers, you know what I'm saying? I knew we could still make a decent chunk. And that's why I always tell people too that are fearful to partner up, like especially with us, is like our assignments are usually bigger. We have good buyers, and like you were talking, I know you were worried about the buyer falling out. I've had buyers wait for like 6 months because it's that good of a deal, right? And the market is so good, but you know, let's talk. So we got it locked up, and
so here we go. So he was like, yeah, we can close, let's get it going. I was like, all right, cool. So I'm like, we get everything sent over to the title company. I get his email address. He doesn't have a cell phone. He only has a landline phone, right? He called me from the landline. So I'm like, all right, like, little did I know, like, boy, was I about to be in for some work. You hear me? Work. Had no idea. So we get things going, and title companies hit me back like, hey, we haven't heard back from Mr. Pride. We're looking for this signature for this, and we just need some information from him. And I was like, okay, well, let me call him. Called him. He didn't respond. Email him. Didn't respond. So Ben and I were like, what's going on? Is he okay? Did he die? I was like, I hope not. Let's go see. So I go knock on his door. He was like, oh, yeah, I got the email. Just I'll get back to him next week. And I was like, huh? I was like, nah, you just got to go up there and respond. He was like, I'll do it next week. And he slams the door. I'm like, oh, bro. I'm like, what's going on? So I knock back on the door. He's like, yeah. You can go ahead. Come on in. So he just like this flip flop. Just not consistent at all. This seller was off the chain, bro. So I guess I get back inside the house. I get the information that we need from the title company, and I get it back to the title company, and we're waiting, right? So throughout this process, we're like, hey, look, Sam, if you want to get an apartment, here goes a few list of things. What we need you to do though, we need you to go get a bank statement, because the apartment complexes are going to need to see a bank statement. He was like, okay, well, I'll give it to you next week. I was like, well, we can go ahead and get things going, right now. I can actually come upstairs and help you, log in and print it out. He was like, no, I'll go get it next week. And I was like, well, you can, are you doing anything tomorrow? He's not working. He's retired. He's not doing anything. He's like, no, I'll do it next week. So everything with this seller was next week. 2 weeks. Everything. It was, bro, like he was just, and I guess just in his mind, he just didn't have the energy to want to do anything quick. It was just to go make a cup of coffee, it'll be like, oh, I just make the coffee next week. It's just like he didn't want to but when you look at how he was living, like his toes were literally cut off and he was bleeding out of his toes. He had socks that were just bleeding. It was blood everywhere. It looked like a scene from The Walking Dead. I'm not playing. Like I'm not playing.
No,
guy, it's serious. Like he needed help, and it looked like he had something going on with diabetes. Like he was sick, man, and he didn't want any medical attention. I was almost like, man, will I get caught for abandoning this guy and not getting him a physician or a doctor or helping him, right? But he was very friendly to me. He was open to me. He trusted me, and it was just a process. So anything I needed, a simple phone call for him to make to the title company, I had to go to his house. So I'm literally driving like 15 miles one way to get to him. Like I probably put about 150 miles on my car for this deal, because I'm dealing with someone who was old, was a citizen. They didn't have a phone. They didn't care to have a phone. They didn't respond to emails. We had to get the HOA release from him. We had to print it out from title, go up there. He married, when he got the property, he was married with his wife. They got a divorce, but he owned the property before they got married. Yeah, they got married. But I still had to do some type of memorandum release on that. He didn't know how to do it. I had to go do it for him. Like I was literally like he was a baby that didn't know. Like I was like babying the entire time. So it finally got around to the time where I was like, hey, well, look, we work with buyers and we have a broad list of people that we work with. And I'm an investor. So, we're going to be putting some work into this property. We're going to have some contractors come by the home and view it. I thought that was going to be an issue. He was fine with it. He was okay with the buyers coming through. They came by, viewed the property, and the buyer's like, is he still living here? I was like,
yeah.
It's a live ball in here. It's a live ball. It was like, what? It was like, I've seen enough. I've seen enough. I was like, well, I haven't seen enough because you ain't paid yet. Partner, with a check at, with the money. But so that's how they went down. And we got it locked up. We got a buyer Airbnb on it. I was like, yes, like this is it. We're gonna close, right? So all of a sudden, we get ready to go over here and set up closing. We're trying to find this apartment, and I think he got a little frustrated because where he wanted to live, he couldn't live there because he lived based off his Social Security income. He had to have a W-2, and we were trying to find him an apartment. Some apartments don't care if you don't have a job. Some of them do. Where he wanted to live, where we picked out for him, he needed to have a job, and he couldn't get there. So I guess inside of him as a man, he kind of felt like he had some more fight left. So I go over there to try to set the closing date, get his apartment for him. Like I'm probably like trip 15 in right now.
Yeah, hey, shout out to you. And I saw somebody said that Honda was putting in work, but it really was because, and I think it's good that you're breaking down these details because people need to understand like every deal is different. And you learn different ways to handle people, but like this is just one of those sellers. Like there was no other way to literally handle it. And shout out to you for doing all the work. But I wanted you to do the work because you understand that's why I always tell people there's no better way to learn this business than to bring me a deal, right? Because not only are you going to make money at the end, but you're going to learn so much more because that's how I learned the business. And I think that's critical for people to understand. And then I think next, he got to the point where I had to send Ben out there because I'm still with the baby. Like I'm like 2 weeks in and I'm like, hey, bro, I think you're going to have to go try to like, you know what I'm saying? Use some tactics that we use. And what happens when Ben goes out there?
Cold. He did us cold. I was like, man, this dude is off the chain right here. So check it out. So he was like, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to my house. And I was like, wait. I thought you want to sell. Like we got everything under contract. We got AMD. Like I'm like, hold on, what you mean you want to hold off? He was like, no, like I'm gonna apply for some jobs. Give me about a month. I was like, bro, like you're not about to get a job. Like you're too old. Like you are on a walker right now, man. You are disabled, bleeding from your toes. Like you bleed. Like no, get out this house. Stop.
Yeah.
With the mattress, man, but I didn't do it right. I had to have patience the entire time. I had to be patient with this man, like because I just didn't want to blow. I didn't want to blow this deal. Like I had never been this far. I had a cash buyer put down EMD. Oh no, sir, no, sir. I was like, you ain't taking this one from me. No, sir. Like, I don't care what happens. I'm gonna hang around. Did you get the job or not? Like, and that's just pretty much what happened. So it's very patient, patience. My job taught me that waiting tables. Like when I'm taking orders, sometimes people like they know what they want, right? You take the order and then boom, you go. But some people are like, what does the steak come with? And guess what? You got 3 other tables. So what you don't do is you start tapping your foot and then you like tapping the table and you're like looking at them like, come on, like, because what happens is they get offended and they get a guest complaint and you get fired. You got to give them, you got to like in your mind, like, oh my God, like make up your freaking mind. But on the outside, you're like, yeah, sure. Take your time. Like whatever you need. Right.
Like literally.
That's something waiting tables has taught me. Like you will lose because at the end of the day, like they're going to tip you. It's just, every table is different. One table may be a birthday. One table may be out of town visiting MD Anderson getting cancer treatment. Then another table may be girls just trying to get live. And then the next round will be another, like each table has different personalities, but you got to be able to provide the service to them. It's the same way with real estate. And that's what working in the restaurant has taught me, and to be a people's person. And just going through that so many times, like I'm able to adapt and talk to people's faces and relate because I do it every day, all day in a restaurant. And so if those out there who are working in the restaurant, like believe it or not, like God's prepping you and he's building you up for this business because you're going to know how to work certain situations because you got all that experience when you're waiting tables. So don't discredit yourself right now. But to get back to the story, he was like, man, like, I'm going to apply for some jobs. I'm going to hold on to my house. I'm going to keep my mortgage.
And no, this is like COVID, like we're talking about shutting down again. Like this is recently, like, and he's 80, you know what I mean? You know, he's struggling going to the restroom. And then I know Ben went out there with you as well, right?
What happened? So look, so he shut us down. So Ben was like, let me just go out there with you and let's go see, right? I was like, all right, cool. So a week later, we go out there, you know, knock on the door. Of course, he doesn't answer the phone. He doesn't answer emails. Duh. So we go. Mind you, this seller was off the chain. This dude would answer the door, butt naked with his dick in his hand, man. Like, I'm not playing with you. I'm not playing with you, bro.
No,
like,
I know.
I didn't mean to say that word on public out there, but like with his penis in his hand, man. Like you can see him walking to the door.
Sure, yeah.
And his penis just sitting there swaying, bro. Like I'm like this man was off the chain. He was off the chain.
But that just shows like the mental capability because like people don't understand. Like you really have to help some of these people, bro.
Right.
And like you would show up with food. Like Ben and I remember.
Right. Yeah, that was about that.
You never know what people are going through. Like Ben and I, like a month ago, right, or 2 months ago, we had this house, and on the way there one morning, and if you guys follow me on Instagram, you saw it. But like we were going to make sure that the tenants were getting out, and while Ben was on the phone, we heard their kid say, "Daddy, we're hungry," and then he said, "We don't have any food," and like. Ben stopped and got the whole family McDonald's and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the type of people we are, but like, you never know what people are going through. So like some of these sellers and tenants, like if you legit take care of people, that's what I'm saying. Like nobody wants to deal with these problems. So like as wholesalers, we have to be solution specialists. And to do that, we have to figure out these problems. And so he's coming to the door naked. And then he was like done with the deal at that point too.
Yeah. He was done. Mind you, about a week before that, I brought him some chilies. He liked chili. He liked the actual chili soup from Chili's, and he liked Dos Equis beer. I remember that from the rapport building I got with him when I first went over there. He told me he likes Dos Equis beers and drinking and eating Chili's chili. So I brought him some of that. He was like, "Oh, you're spoiling me. You're spoiling me." He was so happy. A week later, we come over there. He's like, "I want to keep up my house. I'm going to try to get a job and apply." A week after that, Ben comes over. He opens the door. He's like, "Hey, how's it going?" I was like, "Yeah, we're just, just coming over here, see how things going. And, if you're still interested in selling." And he's like, "No, I don't want to sell. I don't want to sell." And then like, I look at Ben and Ben was like, "Oh, okay. Well, how's everything going with the job search?" He said, "I don't want to sell." Boom. And then he just shuts the door in our face, bro. Ben, bro. Yeah, if y'all ever get the opportunity to hang around Ben's like the most Ben's the most coolest dude, right? This is what that boy Ben said. This is what Ben said. I'm trying to keep a straight face. I'm so sorry, y'all. All right. This is what Ben, like, this is funny, though. I laughed on the way home, right? But at the moment, I was like, dang, this dude slammed the door in Ben's face, and Ben was like, all right. You gonna do me? You gonna do all right? I was like, dang, man.
Yeah, bro. He be mad calm, bro. I'm the hype one, so like I definitely understand. But at that point, though, like I know you probably
it's funny now, but it wasn't funny back then.
Yeah, like shit got real, and like we're like the deal is gonna fall apart. And no, we were supposed to close the next week, and I was like, shit. So I told Ben, like, hey, because I've been in this situation before. I'm like, hey, let's just give him a week to cool off. We see he's up and down, and maybe next week he'll be fine. And we had a couple more last documents that we needed to get signed. And then what happened the next week when you went back out there?
Right. So here we go. So like I left it on. Like I was like, for me, Ben and Derek, like we kind of stopped talking for a second because like I didn't know where to go with it. Like they didn't know where to go. Like we're just gonna give it some time. And like at this point, I was like, I gave up on the deal. Like I did, like legit, like I gave up. I was like, dude, like I don't know why I cannot close a deal. Like there's no reason why this deal is not closed. Like maybe this isn't for me. Like like this isn't like I didn't wreck my Honda. Like all this stuff has happened, bro. Like this ain't this. I'm not supposed to do real estate either. Like I thought I was going to medical school, it's not gonna be that. I was gonna be real estate, it's not gonna be that. Like let me leave it alone. Then like I think Derek sends a memo to me. He's like, "Yo, man, just go out there and just go see if Sam, got a job. Just go follow up." Like in me, I was like, "No," but like,
yeah.
But in me, I was also like, "Let me go. Let's do it." So I go knock on the door, and this dude just blows up. Hey, Steven, how are you? I was like, I'm fine. How are you? He was like, I'm good. He was like, yeah, come on in. And he opens the door and he walks off. I'm like, all right. So I go inside. He was like, hey, how's it going? I was like, well, yeah, look, I'm just coming by to see how everything's going with the job hunt. He was like, oh no, don't worry. Like I want to go ahead and sell. I'm ready. When you gonna buy? I was like, we can close next week. He was like, okay. I was like, oh shit. I was like, all right. I was like, all right, yeah. And I just played it off. I was like, yeah. So what we do is we get some supporting documents over here, and we'll get everything over here. I'll probably be back over here probably tomorrow or a couple of days, and we'll go ahead and close. Has anyone been in contact? Like, no, I haven't called anyone. I haven't asked anyone. Just been only talking to you, nobody else. I was like, okay, cool. Man, I was like so calm. I got in my car. I was like, Derek, Ben, we're gonna close next week, bro. Set everything good. It was like, yes. We set the docs up and we got Obanodi out a week later. That was it, man. They closed, bro. So that's how that deal went down. It was crazy, dude.
Yeah, but there's still moving parts to it, right? Like, so we had to do, and then we'll wrap it up here. So with that though, guys, like I said, we had to still find Sam an apartment. We did what is called a leaseback agreement, right? And that means that we gave him 2 weeks to stay in the property. And for that, we took $3,000 of his proceeds. I, as the wholesaler in between the buyer and the seller, took those proceeds because I want to still control the deal. Right. We found Sam an apartment with one of my realtor friends. She specializes in finding people, problem tenants, apartments and stuff. And so she got Sam a place, and we're on schedule, knock on wood, to close or him move into his new property on Friday. Right. And we ended up selling it for $250, and we JV. So I do 50-50 because obviously this was still a lot of work and everything, and you did work as well. I feel like everybody won, and you made 10, and Ben and I got to split 10 as well, and
And after I got paid, like the leaseback agreement, which is 2 weeks after the closing date, right? The 2 weeks is going to end on this upcoming Friday in a couple of days. So all last week after I got paid, I had to still go over there, get him together, had to apply find an apartment for him still after I got paid. So I want y'all to know the deal isn't done when you get paid. The deal is done when the seller has found peace. And my seller hasn't found peace yet. So the deal really isn't done until he moves out on Friday. So I'm still working his deal. I'm still working it. So we applied for the apartment, got him in there. I was hoping he was gonna like where we found. He likes it. It's off the roadway he wants to move into. And so I applied. I paid for the application fee for him. I went ahead and paid it, and he got approved. He went ahead and got his check, and then he went ahead and paid. I was there with him. I paid the application fee with his bank account. Okay, he gave me access to his bank account. I paid for his deposit and his prorated rent with the bank account. I did not take advantage of him. I didn't memorize anything. I was there.
Yeah, no, you're good, bro. I know you didn't, but that just shows like we're literally like these. This is why I wanted to have you on, because A, it's just a journey from you getting started, and then B, like people need to see things that go into deals, and we do this all the time, bro. Like that's why, when you're freaking out, I'm like, bro, it's cool. But I remember being where you're at and calling my mentor all the time and freaking out over shit. And he's like, bro, it's cool. We got this. Right. And half the time, like me, he probably doesn't know which way it's going to go. But I also know being in real estate, and we talk about mental health a little bit, but being in real estate alone would drive you crazy, right? Because there's so many things that can affect a deal. And so we freak out. And if I freaked out about everything that happened on a daily basis, like, bro, I wouldn't be sane. Like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to have a conversation with you. So I think it's important for people to see like everything that goes into a deal. You've already got a check for 10 grand. And like we posted, that's how some of y'all saw this. but
Yeah.
we're still 2 weeks after the deal working on it, or you are, and I'm just kind of guiding you. But I think it's been the best experience for you to learn. And I know you're working on other deals now, but like people need to understand it's not just over when you get paid. Like, and I've done this so many times over the last like 4 years,
That's key right there. The deal is not over just because you get paid. You have to honor your commitment. I told him I would help you move. Whatever you need me to do for you, I would do that for you. That means after I get paid, like I'm literally moving this man out come Friday morning. Like I'll be helping him move into his new place. Once he's moved and settled with his keys in that apartment, I have officially closed the deal.
Yeah. Awesome.
And that hasn't happened.
Yeah, no, and I think that's great. So last words, like what would you say? I mean, I know you broke it down, but if you could leave one piece of advice, what do you think it would be for people that are in real estate or getting started?
If I could leave one piece of advice, I would say to you guys that you can do it. Don't give up. You can do this. Trust somebody that you can trust. Really find somebody you can trust that you can be vulnerable with your deals that you know is not going to take advantage of you. Find them, let them in, let them guide you, let them help you out. Go after it. Don't stop and go like I did. Put that pedal to the metal and just go, 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 go. Don't stop. Go. Just keep going. It's going to happen for you eventually. And if it happened for me, I know it can happen for you.
Amen. No, I think that's great, man. And people need to remember 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing.
Yep.
And I used to JV deals, bro. I've done deals for $1,500. There's 3 or 4 other wholesalers on the deal, and I'm just happy to be making pennies, basically. So right. I definitely get it, man. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sharing this, guys. If you're in Houston, and you guys have a deal or you want us to take a look at a deal, feel free to reach out to Ben or myself. Like I said, it is 50-50. We're straightforward with you guys, but what you're getting, I mean, do you think it was worth 50% of your deal?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Okay. So we'll get it done. If I tell you it's a deal and we can get it done, we'll get it done. And also, if not, guys, we're going to be doing these every week. I think I'm going to be moving them to Wednesdays like tonight instead of Thursdays because networking events are actually starting to open up. So that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow as well. So I appreciate you guys kicking it with us. If you have questions, you want to DM us, give Steven a follow and watch his journey, and we're going to do some more deals together, my man. And I appreciate your time.
For sure, man. All right, bro.